Burn body fat. 5 simple steps. Initially have a clear, specific goal, and then back it up with the 5 simple steps of exercising, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, and mindset. Doing a sound check. So, first things first is setting the goal. How do you set that clear, specific goal? So, we're going to do a clear, specific goal exercise right now together. So, if you could wave a realistic magic wand and you could have your body, your health, your energy, any kind of way you wanted it to be a year from now, what would that be like for you? Get clear and specific. The more details you can put into it, the better. For example, a very clear and specific goal is a body weight and a body fat percent. That's very clear and specific. So I would suggest consider starting there. Now, how do you do that? A simple hack to just finding out what your body fat is and what body fat you would like to be is to consider going online and doing a Google search and look up men's and women's body fat percentages. And you'll often find ranges from lean to highest body fat percent. And you can find yourself where you're at, and then you can find where you want to be. So, for example, I'll use myself as an example. About 3 months ago, I was 180 pounds at 11% body fat. My goal specifically is to be above 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat. It's very clear, very specific. So what is your goal? Consider a body weight. So just write it down, lock it down, do whatever you have to do, but get clear and specific because our minds really need a target to go for. So I can encourage you to write it down, memorize it. Now, once you have it, I encourage you to consider this affirmation / prayer. I am happy and grateful now that I am at least 190 pounds and at or below 10% body fat. So that's an example. What is yours? You fill in the blank. I am happy and grateful now that I am your body weight, your body fat percent. That's you putting it in. I hope that makes sense. Right. So now we're later on, and maybe not just today, but I want you to consider going really deep into detail about your goals. Almost at it with like a childlike enthusiasm. Just get fascinated by figuring out what you want with your health and fitness. I encourage you to gamify it. Gamifying something is a simple way to make fitness fun, right? So consider making it a game to just get better. So I am happy and grateful now that I am, and then you state your goal, right? Now, the 5 simple steps: exercise, nutrition, recovery, supplementation, and mindset. Now, with exercise, I encourage you to consider at least a combination of strength training exercises and cardiovascular exercises. For example, one way to do it is to do cardio in the morning, weights in the afternoon. If you have that kind of time, you can put them together. There's all kind of ways to do it. There's a million variations. Seems like a million variations, the way to combine things. But I encourage you to have a blend of cardiovascular exercises and strengthening exercises. This combination. Imagine for a moment that we have a twin engine airplane and you have 2 engines on the plane, and one engine is cardiovascular engine, one engine is strength training engine, right? So we want both engines strong on the airplane going. What happens if you only use just one engine? Well, I wouldn't want to be on that airplane. We want both. Your body's going to be most efficient when you have a combining strength training with some sort of cardiovascular conditioning. So consider that. Now, when building a strength training program, these are some things to consider. 5 principles. Number 1 is proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles, and consistency. That makes up a well-rounded training program. I'll say it again. Proper form, variety, intensity, proper training principles, and consistency. Why would proper form be important? Well, 2 big reasons is 1, so that we get the most out of the exercise, and 2, so that we don't get hurt. Probably guessed that, right? Number 2 is nutrition. Now, imagine for a moment that we want to build a beautiful 2-story house from scratch. And imagine that we only have half the materials necessary to build the house. How far are we going to get? Maybe part of the way, right? So the foods that you and I eat on a daily basis are the supplies that build our body. It gives us energy, gives us our metabolism. It balances our insulin and our blood sugar levels. Right? Those things. So just with that in mind, those are the 4 things that eating affects us. So as you're building your house, you want to have enough materials to build the house. If you want muscle and lean body fat, you have to eat enough to build that muscle. You can't just work out and not eat. If you do that, you're going to struggle. You're not going to have the muscle that you want. So consider a proper nutrition plan. So with that in mind, eating affects our body in basically 4 different ways. Our metabolism, our energy levels, our blood sugar levels, and our insulin levels. Now, let's take a look at, say you want to build a fireplace, and you have a fireplace, you want to have a fire from scratch, right? Now, not including, kindling and getting the fire started, but if you had to choose between the 2 sources of fuel, oak wood or paper, to burn in your fireplace, which one would you pick and why? Think about it. Would you rather have the oak wood or the paper? Not including, getting it started. I know you have to have some twigs and some paper to get it started, but long-term burning, what's going to burn more efficient, the oak wood or the paper? Well, most people realize it's going to be the oak wood. Oak wood is going to be much firmer, more dense, long-lasting, right? Now, what are good examples of oak wood type burning foods? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and proteins like legumes, lentils, nuts, and seeds, and protein powders, right? It's all kinds of good. If you want to dig deep, a little bit deeper into some other areas of study in this regard, I encourage you to watch The Game Changers, THE, The Game Changers. It's on Netflix or YouTube. It's really interesting because they go into it's done really well, and it goes into the science even of why it's better. But really, I feel like there are basically 3 benefits to eating this way. It's healthy. It's a healthier approach. It's healthy for you, right? So that's huge. So it's healthy for you. It's environmentally better for the environment, and it's better for the animals because it's just plant-based proteins, right? So we looked at nutrition. Next is recovery. There's so much I want to cover on recovery and sleep. The biggest thing I want to encourage you to consider when it comes to sleep is to get what you fully need and require, what your body requires, right? And for most people, according to the science that I've read, it's around 7.5 to 9 hours sleep a night. Probably for me, it's more like 8.5 to be optimal. And to go for 2 hours of REM and 2 hours of deep. And I haven't been using measurables and measuring my sleep, but I'm considering getting into it. But that's the goal. But but mainly what you consider doing is having a start time and an end time. So pick your time frame of when you want to sleep and be consistent with it. One of my mentors that I recently started following in regards to health, he has like a sleep, like multiple personalities, and he has like for me, it'd be a sleep mark. And so if it's time to go to sleep, sleep mark says, okay. Then there's ambitious mark. Mark wants to, reduce obesity and help people feel better. Like that when it starts to get, so you have those competing. We have these competing. I mean, you might have kids, or you might have work, or you might have whatever. But pick a time that you want to go to sleep, and then when your sleep self says, "Okay, it's time to go to sleep," ambitious self, we need you. We'll pick back up with you in the morning. We'll get going tomorrow. We'll pursue this. It's kind of funny, but if you think about it, it's just make sure you get your sleep. Ensure that you go to bed when you say you're going to go to bed. Get up when you say you're going to get up. I hope that makes sense. So we talked about exercise, nutrition, recovery, supplementation. I feel there are basically 2 types of supplementation: nutritional supplementation and enhancement performance supplementation. Nutritional supplementation is like plant-based protein powders. I just been enjoying recently a chocolate peanut butter plant-based protein mixed with almond milk, cold water, and ice, and what else was it? Some good oil, and oh my goodness, it felt like a treat, something like it wasn't good for you, but it was good for you. So these days, there's all kind of supplements you can use if you have a sweet tooth craving. If you don't, well, good for you. A lot of people do. I feel like I was born with one, but anyway, but it kind of cures that because it's kind of sweet, and it gives off that and it's very satisfying, and it's protein, good source plant-based proteins, right? As a matter of fact, the latest one I have is here. I don't have an affiliate link on it yet, but this is the one I'm talking about right now. And Planta, but it's a really good one. But anyway, so that's nutritional supplementation. And then there's enhancement performance supplementation. An example of that is like creatine monohydrate, or if you're over 40 and you're doing hormone replacement therapy, I consider that into enhancement area. So we have exercise, nutrition, recovery, supplements, right? And then last but not least is the mindset. But the mindset is so important. Imagine for a moment that you're trying to build a big building, a big, huge building. And those big operated cranes with the box on the bottom, and the big crane goes up and down, and the person's in the box controlling the box. I feel like that box is your brain, is your mind, not just the brain, but your mindset. That box is your mindset. And our mindset controls the body, not the other way around. So tomorrow morning is going to be Monday morning. My goal is, as soon as I first get opportunity, to do either 30 minutes of steady state cardio or 20 minutes of HIIT. When it comes time to do it, my brain just says, let's do it. I'm not having a debate. Oh, it's Monday morning. I'm just not feeling, should I do it today? I'm not having these conversations. Most people do. So I encourage you to decide what it is you want to do. Doesn't mean you have to go crazy. If you have a hectic schedule, you just look at it and just try to plug in what works for you, and then just do it. That's just the thing, following through with it. So I encourage you to follow through, but it starts in the mind. Is the follow through is with the mind. And so that's why I set up the beginning of this exercise with the affirmation / prayer. I'm going to finish with it. I am happy and grateful now that I am, and then you put in your goal. That's the phrase. So I encourage you to write that down, memorize it, internalize it, and put your numbers on it. I am happy and grateful now that I am, and then you put in the numbers, right? I am happy and grateful. Look at that real quick. I am as a powerful spiritual statement. I am. I am happy. That's a very happy, very good feeling. And grateful. Grateful is a high level emotion, very high, what they call sometimes some circles call a vibration. It is a high vibration energy. Gratefulness. It's even, I've heard it's the highest, if I'm not mistaken, the highest level of vibration. So I am happy and grateful now. So what we're doing this affirmation is we're thinking about the future. Like what physically, what do I'm gonna use myself as an example, okay? Just to try to make the point. So you look into the future. Okay, I say my goal, I'm probably right now currently 185 pounds, maybe 11% body fat, let's say, okay? My goal in reality is to be above 190 pounds. That's 5 pounds. It's probably more like 7 pounds of muscle, because if I lose 2 pounds of fat and gain 7 pounds of muscle, I'll probably be at 190 pounds at 10%, at around 10% body fat. So that's my objective. But when I say my goal every day, as I'm building towards it, as I say my goal, I'm saying I am happy and grateful now, right now, that I'm happy and grateful now that I am at least 190 pounds and at 10% body fat. So I'm celebrating being at my goal in the moment. Does that make sense? Arnold used to do that. Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he prepared for his multiple times that he won the Olympia, he would see himself in the future. It's called visualization. He would see himself in the future winning the competitions. He would see himself in the future winning the competitions in the future. So I'll ask you to consider seeing yourself in the future. Visualize yourself as you dream it to be. Set it, write it down, internalize it, lock it in, memorize it. And then every day use the phrase, I am happy and grateful now that I am, and you fill in your blank. I hope that makes sense. If anything, if I can be of any support, reach out to me. My goal is to come at you here every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And be blessed. And remember, our health is our wealth. Without our health, what does it matter what earthly possessions we have or don't have? Health is our wealth. And be blessed.